Hey there, FlossTube. This is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Saturday, February 1st of the year 2020, and this is FlossTube number 5. So, welcome to Alma's Little Wonders. Welcome back to all of you that have been following me on my journey thus far. Thank you again so much for liking and subscribing and leaving all your wonderful comments. I usually try to reply to all the comments that are left in my videos. I'm usually very good about being on top of it, but since I started working, I have fallen behind, but I will make a point of going back and replying to any of those that I may have missed, because I do appreciate you leaving comments, and I want you to at least know that. I at least like them, like I put a little heart on it, but I do like to reply as well. And if you're new, then welcome to my channel. I hope you like what you see and you find a reason to stay and continue following me on my stitching journey. A lot of things have been happening. We're officially done with January, so it's time to shift between January focus pieces and February focus pieces. So without further ado, let's get to stitching. This week was very interesting in terms of stitching challenges, the Facebook challenge groups. I'm usually very good about doing all the tasks and getting everything done, but this week I didn't get to it. Either because, again, like, just time just got away from me. I kept saying like, oh yeah, like I can do this on Saturday or anything like that, and before, like, I didn't realize that Saturday was already the beginning of a new month, and it obviously didn't count for January challenges, but there it is. I also just the projects or the whips that I had chosen for the prompts just weren't calling out to me at the moment, so I just decided to not do them. I kept stressing out over it, and I just decided, you know what, I don't want to force myself to work on something that is not calling out to me when there are so many other pieces that are. So I just decided to let it go. Let it go. Again, Enchanted Stitching group. Now we are on to Frozen February. So I'm expecting to get a lot of things done on snow, because there's snow in the piece Frozen. So yeah, so I look forward to that, because again, that is a piece that I'm doing for the 20 in 20 challenge and full coverage fanatics. So again, if I can match tasks throughout the year for that, then I should be able to get that done no problem. But as far as the challenges for this week, or this last week that just ended, well, I guess technically today is the last day. Point being is, again, new month. So the last week of January, for magical stitches, they gave us, I think, 4 prompts, and then we had to list a whip for each prompt. And then I think it was on Sunday night, or maybe Sunday afternoon, a wheel was spun to determine which prompt you needed to work on. So even though they asked us to list the whips for every prompt, we really only needed to work on that one that was selected. So the Floridian Resort got the prompt for something to do with cold. It can be something that is cold, or anything like that. So for that one, I pulled out my Hade. This is Mini One by Cindy Nielsen, and I just blew up the mock-up picture that you can find on the website, just because I don't know, I wanted to be able to see it all, I suppose. And the cover, I think the cover picture was like smaller, so I just decided to go ahead and print this one out instead. The goal for this one is to hit 25,000 stitches by the end of the year. And I only have like a little over 4,000 to go, so so I think I'll be able to reach this goal no problem. This week we had to put in, I think, 300 stitches. So this is where I'm at. And I actually did manage to work on the ocean, which is how I tied this piece to the prompt. Is the ocean and the wind are usually very cold at the beach, or at least the beaches here in California. Unless you go like in the summer, and even then sometimes the water is still very cold. I guess it depends on the beach. But so the entire top row, this is the first row of pages, that was all sky. So I'm finally getting to something that's not sky. So I was able to actually work. This is the water right here. So it was neat. Like I was able, as opposed to just being like, oh yeah, like you know, I'm working on this because it has the item in question. Now I'm actually able to stitch on the item, which was neat. And I was actually pleasantly surprised, because with that piece, I feel like it's hard to discern the progress. Like sometimes I feel like I would keep stitching and I couldn't see the process. And for this one, I think Pattern Keeper did help a lot as well. You know, I put in 300 stitches, and again, like at the end of the 300 stitches, I didn't feel like anything got done. But I ended up like I did see process. So I was very encouraged. I was like, yes, I can get things done on this piece, which was lovely. And that piece got a little over 600 pieces done so far this month. So again, having had those 600 some stitches put in, I only have a little bit over 4,000 to go, which, you know, if I wanted to work on it weekly, would be about 100 stitches per week. So I should be okay to reach that goal for that piece. And then, since that was the only prompt for magical stitches, I could go ahead and move on to enchanted stitching. So for that one, I only worked on half of the prompts. There were 4 prompts. I only was able to get to 2 this week. Again, because time got away from me, or I wasn't feeling the whips that I picked for the prompt. And again, enchanted stitches, like, they don't necessarily have the penalty option. They're more lenient on, like, you can essentially just make up any story to tie your whip to the prompt. But again, I wasn't feeling the piece, so I didn't do it. But for one of the prompts, you had to stitch on something that reminded you of mothers. So I pulled out my teacup display. The chart is by Designworks. The artwork is by Joan Elliott. This also worked out because January was Joan, I think it was on one of my Facebook groups, I think it was on Stitch Mania, I'm not sure, but they had a Joan Elliott month. So I pulled this out to go ahead and match that theme for the month. But I picked this because my mom always had like her really nice china and ceramic figurines in displays at her old house, and you know, we were not allowed to touch them because they are fragile. So yeah, so I just picked this because it reminded me of my mama. And for that one, since this was a WhipGo focus piece for the month, it did get a lot of stitches done. I'm also using it for an ultimate task in magical stitches. So when I do work on it, I tend to do 500 stitches because that's the increments that you're supposed to do for the pictures, and I think this is the right way. But yeah, I think so since you last saw them or saw this piece, I think I just kept going on the blue border again because that's a nice and quick way of getting stitches done if I don't necessarily feel like counting, because counting this border can sometimes get a little bit tedious, especially since I didn't grid all the way. But yeah, doing the border, it's a really quick way of getting those stitches done. So the task for enchanted stitching only asked for 250, but again, since I was working on this for an ultimate task, I just doubled it. But I will continue to work on it because I'm not done with that ultimate task for this piece. So this will still get some work done, but it just won't be a focus piece for the rest of the year, I think. But I do want to get it done, and that shouldn't be a problem, because again, I'm working on it on 500 stitch increments. The other prompt that I did work on for enchanted stitches is we had to pick a whip that resembled your choice. So towards the end of the film, the Lost Boys and Wendy are forced to choose between walking the plank and joining the crew. So you had to pick a whip that resembled your own choice. Like, would you walk the plank or would you join the crew? So I pulled out my villain's piece because I would join the crew. I want to live. Sorry, not sorry. So yeah, so this is by Zana Cross Stitch, and I'm very excited because this month in Magical Stitches we are reading the Evil Queen book from, it's technically called Fairest of Them All by Serena Valentino. That's the focus book for the month, which you know, she's the main character. So so I am hoping to continue using this piece for the remainder of this month of February. So I pulled that out, and I'm still working on the white, unfortunately. So we'll play the game of see where the lighting takes us. You can kind of see where I am at. So I'm actually going to be taking this piece to work with me, to work on during my breaks, because right now it's kind of hard to discern, but these are actually her cheekbone highlights. And now, and you can kind of see just negative space here, you can kind of see the outline of her chin right here. And the background here is all white, because not just because of the background itself, but because of the collar that she has. So there's a lot of white coming up, and it's like a huge block of it. And I think I mentioned this in my last video as well. So I'll be taking this because all I need to do is just outline the block and fill in without necessarily looking at the pattern. So, and this is relatively small, it's not too bulky like other pieces. More on that later. So I shouldn't have a problem. I'll just put it in a little bag and take it with me to work, and maybe even keep it there just for the sake of not having to you know, take it back and forth. Before taking that to work with me, and that was the extent of the enchanted stitches challenges for me, just FYI. But before taking that to work with me, I was taking my Flowers of the Alphabet piece. And this is by Lemonada on Etsy. And in case you're new, in case this is the first time you are joining us, I'm not using the called for colors for this piece. This piece I am using to de-stash. So I'm kind of treating each individual flower as its own little piece, and I'm just going to go through and look for matching floss. So it won't necessarily be the called for floss, it'll just be something that I have already that matches that color. And so if you follow me on Instagram, that you will have seen this already, but let me see if I can get a paper here. I forget that this always is an issue with this piece, but I finished the framework. I finished the boxes now for each flower, and what remains now is, so my goal for this month is to finish this bottom area. So I want to, because there's actually a larger box over here. So that's another thing, is I'm not doing the alphabet that is at the bottom of the piece. I am switching that out and adding a quote. And for this year, I want to be able to finish that quote and finish these two last flowers, so the Y and the Z. And that shouldn't be a problem. Again, if I just use it for tasks here and there, I don't think that should be a problem. Because again, we're only in February. That's another thing, is I keep thinking that I have to finish all the goals like as soon as possible, and I keep reminding myself, like, no, Alma, you have plenty of time to finish those goals. Nothing needs to be done right away. So that was one thing I did, that was one whip I did continue working on. And again, I won't really be bringing that to work with me anymore, because now I do need to look at the pattern while I work. So as I mentioned on my last video, I really want to bring whips in which I don't have to look at the pattern, because it's just tedious. Again, it's just, I don't want to have to bring the pattern with me and have to like keep looking back and forth, you know, looking at the pattern and then having to stitch. So yeah, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and just keep this at home for now. Another piece that I did work on this week is Moon Charmer. I am using this for my 100 Days of Hade challenge. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. But yeah, I'm still working on this. I try to get at least like 30 stitches in, just for the sake of saying, yes, I'm doing this daily for 100 days. So far it really only gets 30 stitches, but I continue to work on it daily. So this is where I'm at right now. Is this right? Yeah, it's right way up. Sorry. So I am still working on the same color, 798 DMC. But I am closing in on the area. I think this is as far as it goes right here, up here. The last time you saw this, I think since the last time you saw this, I think that's essentially what I've done. Is I may have done a few rows down here, but it is getting some stitches done. Overall, this month alone, this has gotten 2,600 stitches. Again, because it's been a focus for the 100 Days of Hade. So the goal for this piece is to hit 50,000 stitches. I have over half of that to go. So I hope that I can reach that goal by the end of the year, and I hope that the 100 Days of Hade helps with that. Because as it is, if I want to reach that goal, then I would have to do 600 stitches per week on this So we'll see. Again, sometimes it is only getting 30 stitches though, but I am using that as one of my my parks for the Full Coverage Fanatics National Park Challenge, in which you have to stitch on each whip. Each park is a whip, so you have to do 4,000 stitches per park. So I am using that for a park, so it's automatically going to get at least 4,000 stitches in addition to the ones that I've already done. So again, it's one of my loftier goals for the year. I don't know if I'll be able to reach it, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. I won't, be too hard on myself. I won't beat myself up if I can't reach it. Another piece that I did work on is Tilton Crafts Esmeralda, and this is based on Daniel Kordek's art. And I always love working on this piece, so again, this is the one that was calling out to me more than the ones that I picked for the stitching challenges, so I just worked on her instead. So this is where I am at with her. And so far this year, so this month, she got 1,300 stitches in. The goal for this one, the goal is to hit 10,000 stitches. I think originally it said 5, but I increased it to 10. And I have a little over 6,000 stitches to go in order to reach that goal. I just love the colors on this. And I'll continue, working on her and showing her, because again, she was calling out to me a lot more than other pieces, because she always brings a smile to my face. I also managed to get some work done on Snow Girl, because again, she was a focus piece for Whipco, and it was the last week to kind of do that. And this actually happened the day that I filmed my last video on Sunday. So I was kind of like, oh, I wish I could have done that like during the week, so I could have said so last week, but I can say it now. I officially reached, oh, sorry guys, I'm struggling, it's a big piece. But this is what I did since the last time that I showed this piece. This right here is the edge of the pattern. This is the last square. And that actually brought me to 4,000 stitches done in a month. Let me see if I can get the rest of it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, again, it's a really large piece, guys. I can't do it, I'm sorry. But yeah, again, I managed to do this on Sunday after filming, and I was very excited, because again, I'm using this as the 20 and 20 challenge, and I also used her for one of the parks as well, so that's why it was the 4,000 stitch milestone. And the goal was actually to do 3,000 stitches this month, because she was one of my focus pieces for the year. And I'm sorry, this is what she looks like. I forgot to do this before. So right now I'm just working on the white. It's not illustrated in this this cover photo, but there's actually a white border that goes around all the way, so most of my stitches have been done that way, because again, it's an easy thing to do. It's quick. I don't need to look at the pattern because I know that it's just 5 stitches all around. So that's also why I was able to just do it so quickly. But yeah, 4,000 stitches in a month. For 16,000 to go. I don't think it'll be. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem, but we'll see. We'll see. It's again, it's one of my lofty goals. If I want to do it, it would bring me to about 350 stitches per week. So yeah, so will I be able to do it? Who knows? Maybe I can do it for, or use her for, again, the enchanted stitching challenges, because it will be winter related. So fingers crossed I'll be able to keep up with the goal and be able to get those 20,000 stitches in 2020. But that was for the Whip Go focus also for January. We've moved on to February. Jessie Marie posted already. I think it was maybe on the 27th. She did go ahead and post the 2 numbers that were pulled for February. So here is my Whip Go board. And for those of you that aren't familiar for this, and this is your first time joining us, Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff is doing a Whip Go this year. There's a Facebook group associated with it. I'll go ahead and link it in the description box. But essentially what she's doing is she's pulling, you have a board, your traditional bingo board, 25 slots, and then she pulls 2 numbers per month, and then that becomes the focus of the month. So she encourages you to write your yearly goal with each whip. I went a little bit further and did monthly goals. So I put down what I wanted to get done when the whip was called, and then I also put the overall yearly goal. So 6 and 12 were called out. Yeah, 6 and 12 were called out for January, so I finished those goals. I did over 3,000 stitches on snow, and for teacup display it was to get at least a quarter of the piece done, which believe it or not, like the border that I have done is a quarter of the piece. And now we've moved on to February, and she called 3 and 23. The focus for 3, well, the whip that I put down for 3 is Peter Pan. So it was the focus piece for Enchanted Stitching last month because of the Peter Pan movie, and now it's still going to get some progress done because of Whip Go. And then since she did call out 23, these last 5 slots I had left blank for new starts. So I put down Portrait of Veronica, which is a Mirabilia. So I'll be able to start this. I plan to start this maybe next week, I think. I'll work on Peter Pan this week, and then I can start on her next week. That was one of the things that I did fall back on, is I meant to start a new piece during January. I meant to start this one, Stacked Teacups by Dimensions, but I didn't get around to it. Again, just time got ahead of me, and before I knew it, January was over and I wasn't able to start it. So I plan to work on this today, actually. I do want to work on this one today, so I can at least say that I started it, even though I wasn't able to start in January. But after starting that one, I'll just start on Portrait of Veronica next week. And as far as the Peter Pan piece goes, it's one of those MCG textile kits. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. Based on Thomas Kincaid's art for the Disney Dreams collection. Tinkerbell Peter Pan Fly to Neverland. And I will get started on this week, because both Enchanted Stitches and Magical Stitches have released their monthly tasks that go throughout the month. So I know for a fact I'm using Peter Pan for one of those prompts. So those two will be the focus pieces for WhipGo, and then for full coverage fanatics. Sorry, again, blanked out for a second. For full coverage fanatics, they try to do. They're doing an around the world theme this year. You don't necessarily have to count your stitches, but they visit. They feature a country every month. So January's was Australia, which you can stitch on anything related to do with Australia. And I used Snow Girl for that one because the Australian flag has white in it. This month, and I'm very excited for this, we are doing Brazil, and I am working on June. It's a hate chart based on Anna Dittman's artwork, and I just said that, you know, June has both yellow and green, and the Brazilian flag has yellow and green. I took the easy way out. And shout out to Tess from Tess Stitches. She was kind enough to let me know that there's a sister piece to this called July, which is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's another lady with a flower, but it's all violets and purples and pinks, and it's stunning. And we are now planning on starting that piece in June, which I'm very excited about. But for now, I'm really excited about getting to work on her, because I did start her last week. Not start her. I started gridding her this week. Yeah, I did it specifically so that I could go ahead and not worry about gridding while I stitch. So this is where she is at the moment. Go ahead and pull this out for a bit. And I'm going to go ahead, and so another reason why I wanted to get on the gridding, which you can see right there, and I did the edge up there as well, and I did this all through the entire length of the piece. But the reason why I need to grid all of it is because I'm trying the extreme cross country method, which is when you finish one color in the entirety of the piece. So yeah, so this is what I have right now, and I made a huge mistake and brought this to work with me to work on the gridding. It took up my entire desk, so it was not a good idea. So lesson learned, I'm never doing that again. I'll just bring small whips and just leave the gridding for when I'm at home. Because yeah, like I would just kind of wave at everybody as they walked by, because yeah, like, you know, my monitor was off. You could tell that I was on a break, but at the same time, it's not something you see every day. So yeah, so I wasn't too thrilled about it, and I don't mind people watching me stitch, but that was a little overkill, so I'm not doing that again. But I am very excited to stitch on her because she's gorgeous, and she's actually my wallpaper in my computer, so I'm always excited. Like I was getting very excited to stitch on her because she's stunning. So that's a little bit of my February plans. Again, I do want to start the stacked teacups and the Mirabilia. to kind of have those as new starts. And I did have some whips lined up for the monthly tasks, which I'll show you next week, since you know, right now Peter Pan didn't really get anything done this week, so I'll just show you once I do have some progress on it. Let me see. Oh, I did want to let you guys know that since it is the 1st of February, it marks 1 year since I started Lilac Evening. So, for better or worse, this is this is how much I've gotten done in a year. Again, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. She wasn't a focused piece for a long time. Most of the progress she's seen is through tasks in my challenge groups. So yeah, so I will stitch on her. So this weekend I do want to stitch on her because it is her birthday. And I can go ahead, excuse me, I can go ahead and show you what she's gonna look like when she's finished. So the goal for this year is to go ahead and finish the stitching at least. But yeah, she turns 1 year old today, so I will stitch on her. And I also want to see if I can get the those stacked teacups started. So that will be for this weekend. But yeah, that is it for me. Again, just try to shift gears and get into the February focuses. I know that I think it's Stitch Mania that's doing a Fantasy February theme, so I'll go ahead and put up maybe Moon Charmer for it, because that fits. So yeah, again, just trying to shift gears, trying to let go of January focuses and focusing on the February focuses. I'll just, you know what, I'll just go ahead and show you Peter Pan since I do have it out, so I can show you where I'm at for the beginning of February. Again, it's pretty much the same as last week, last video, since he didn't get much things done. But you know, for WhipGo, as I mentioned, I like to put down what I want to get done when the whip is called. So I put down that my goal was to finish the next 30 rows in the piece. So I essentially, since some of them are partially finished already, I just need to get to this bottom right here, because I do believe, yeah, there's still some, I'll just put it a little bit closer. There's still some unstitched parts over here, but that's just one color, so I know I'll get that row done pretty fast as soon as I finish that color. So yeah, so for this month, at the end of this month, I would like to get to this bottom row right here. And if I get beyond it, if I can start on this area, then great. If not, I'm not gonna be too sad about it. And I'm honestly, like, I'm probably, because if I do start right here, then I'll find a Tinkerbell. I'll have started on Tinkerbell. So odds are I'll probably want to keep stitching on her when I do start her. But we shall see. Again, I'm very excited for the focus pieces for this month. I'm really excited about starting the Mirabilia because I've never done a Mirabilia. The reason why I chose to start the Mirabilia for that slot, even though it's blank, is because March will be Mirabilia March. So I figured this was a great way to kind of, you know, get a head start on the memorabilia. That way when March comes around, I can go ahead and just keep going on her, keep that momentum going. As far as the focus or the monthly goal for her is I just want to get 500 stitches done this month at least, which hopefully, again, I just need to use her for a couple of tasks on the stitching challenge groups, and then that'll take care of that goal. So I'm not, again, because it is a new piece, and I'm anticipating, you know, kind of trying to find a rhythm, see what it's like to stitch a memorabilia. I wasn't too hard on myself this time. I just thought, okay, let's just go for low, and you know, if I reach it, then great. I can just keep going, again, keep the momentum going into March, for Memorabilia March, and see where that takes us. You know, maybe by March I'll get, you know, 1,000 stitches in, or maybe even 1,200 or 1,500, because she's gorgeous. She really is gorgeous, and I'm really looking forward to stitching on her. So yeah, again, I'm not gonna be too harsh on myself. The yearly goal for her is to stitch 2,000 stitches. So again, I'm gonna start her, but it's not gonna be a huge focus piece for this month. But that is it, I believe. We did do the January check-in for Stitch from Stash at last. I'm still good. I haven't spent that much this month. I only bought that Disney Villains piece, and I did go out and buy for June. She does use one of the new DMC colors that came out, I think maybe September, I want to say, and unfortunately Joann's didn't carry the new colors. At least the Joann's that are close to me didn't carry the new colors, so I had to go to Michael's. And I had a gift card for Joann's, not for Michael's, so that did come out of my pocket. But aside from that, I did finish the Cinderella piece, as I showed. I should have probably taken that out so I could show you as a January wrap-up, but I did finish the Cinderella piece. So between the credits that I earned for that finish and the money that I spent on the pattern and the floss, which wasn't much, I'm still good. I'm still, I think, like $13 on budget, so I'm good. I'm being good. I'm not buying too much. But again, now I'm planning on starting the July piece from Anna Dittman, so we'll see. And I do plan on starting a Change of the Seasons in March as well, so I have to kit that up. So we'll see if I can still keep up with the no spending, or spending as little as possible. I have gift cards, so that's why I'm not too worried about going over budget for Stitch from Stash. But that is it from me for this week. I do hope that you have a fantastic weekend, and that February brings you lots of stitching time, and I hope that you guys are as excited about moving on to a new month as I am. So for now, thank you for spending some time with me. Again, feel free to like and comment and subscribe, because I do love receiving comments and replying. I just haven't gotten around to it. Sorry, but I will, I promise. But for now, again, have a good weekend, and happy stitching. Bye guys.